Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of For the Fans. Tonight's gonna be a little bit different. We got a few changes going on at the moment. So if you guys know or do not know, McKay will not be joining us tonight in For the Fans. He is working a very, very busy schedule, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So, right now for tonight, you guys are going to have only me, and I'm going to try to do my best. It's a little weird, kind of talking to only myself, not having McKay to bounce off with, make the jokes with. He's going to be really, really missed in tonight's episode, but we are looking forward to what the future has to bring us. Um, yeah, so with that being said, let's go ahead and roll on into tonight. With that, we're going to start off with a bit of news. This is the part that usually McKay takes over with a bit of news, but we're going to start with that. And the first thing is For the Fans is going to be changing its approach to scheduling over the next little bit due to conflicts in schedule, mainly with me and McKay. For those of you that have watched us in the past, you already know, but for those that are tuning in for the first time or going to be watching this on YouTube when it gets uploaded at a later date, hopefully tomorrow, McKay is actually having a baby. Should be having a little baby boy, and his baby boy is expected to be due in about 4 weeks. So, congratulations to him and his amazing wife. They're going to be awesome parents, and McKay's honestly just super, super, super busy because he's working 2 jobs, trying to do everything he can to prepare for this baby and take care of his family. And as always, family comes first, and that's going to be one of the most important things. But we will try to continue to try and run as often as possible. Welcome back to everyone that has tuned in before. We haven't been here for a while because if you saw the last episode or two, we were having extreme technical difficulties. I think I have it figured out at this point. We basically just need to run through and test it a few more times just to make sure that everything's coming in properly. It was basically just a weird setting turned itself off, and I should be able to turn it back on with no problem. I just gotta make sure to check it. But you will see in this upcoming season, with McKay having a kid, he may not be able to tune in every single episode. So throughout the upcoming season, if everything happens on time and continues out as normal, you may get some nights where it's only me going through what I personally think and going off of what happened during the past week, like we've done in the past. For our first few episodes, we had the review of the week, some of the bigger highlights, some of the scores and everything. But it may come out to just be me some weeks, and some weeks McKay will be there, and then other weeks McKay might join in halfway through. We're all just kind of playing it by ear and kind of working around his schedule and his new baby, and then I'm starting school up again soon, so we're going to have all of that going around. In other news, a bit of news around the NFL. So one of the bigger changes that is happening is that the Washington Redskins are officially dropping the name Redskins and changing the logo. So that's going to be a big significant change coming into this next season with whatever they decide. Unfortunately, I haven't heard anything of what it could be yet, but there's been a lot of names streamlined and people poking around trying to guess what names. I think there was even one where they had a giant group of like the most popular names voted for so far. And I think somebody went in and bought the copyright for every single one of those names. That way they couldn't use it, which I thought was kind of funny. A little bit of a haha gotcha moment. But there's other people have been chiming in all over the place. So it'll be very interesting to see what exactly happens with that team. Another other pieces of big news, just because football's been relatively quiet, but picked up is fairly recently. Not too long ago, Cam Newton was signed to a 1-year, $1 million contract with the New England Patriots to replace Tom Brady. So it's going to be interesting kind of seeing how the Patriots are going to take the quarterback approach. They brought in some old players that have played with the Patriots before. They have their second-year quarterback in Stidham, and now they have Cam Newton, who is going to be healthy again. The other big news is possibly one that everyone's heard by now. It was massive, both literally and figuratively, in the sense of Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, just signed a contract extension. His contract, I don't think, is up for another year or two of his current rookie one. But he just signed a 10-year extension, so he's going to be playing well into he's 24 right now. If he has 2 years, he's going to be playing at least with the Chiefs until he's around 36, unless they trade him or something happens. But he signed a 10-year, $100 million contract, which is the biggest contract signing in basically the whole history of every sport, including the NFL. So I was talking to my wife the other day and talking to my brother. I was like, "Oh man, Patrick Mahomes just signed a 100 million 10-year contract," and I literally just looked. I was like, "How old is Patrick Mahomes?" I'm like, "Oh, Patrick Mahomes is 2 months older than me, and he's gonna be making $10 million a year." Wow, my life is terrible because he's being a multi-millionaire, and I'm sitting here just in my tiny little apartment, having my nice life with my wife, and just living my small town life. I'm like, man, being a professional athlete really does pay off, especially when you win a Super Bowl at the age of 24. But good on him. Honestly, he truly deserves it. He is becoming one of my favorite players of all time. I highly respect him. He is an awesome player both on and off the field. I even saw a video of him today just going through Facebook, and he was out golfing with his tight end Travis Kelce, and basically just threw a pine cone that was the size of a football, just like lightly tossed it against Travis Kelce's back while Travis Kelce was taking drinks. So it was a good laugh, and everyone had a good laugh about it. He's a kid at heart, but he's fun both on and off the field. I think that about does it for news and kind of updates around the NFL, other than with the virus, it's going to impact the season a little bit. I know that they're starting to cut preseason games out of the picture, so we'll just have to see how that's going to affect the regular season, and that's also going to just carry into our For the Fun, which is going to come in later tonight. I'm going to ask a question. I just want to give you guys my personal thoughts about it, what I think could happen. I would love to hear some of your guys' theories and everything with it. But let's move on into the juice of today's session, which, ironically, this wasn't planned, but it worked out in this way. With this being our 21st episode and getting more information, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Madden 2021, or Madden 21. Kind of just looking at like some of the bigger name players. Some teams have even found out like what their entire roster is going to look like, what each player's ratings are going to be. But right now we have like rumors of a lot of it. Some have been confirmed by Madden themselves and EA themselves. So we're going to talk a little bit about that right now. So to start, we're going to basically just go through the teams and kind of see like where they stack up. And this website has the teams like all divided up weird. Like I would prefer if it was like AFC East, all 4 teams there, AFC West, AFC South, AFC North, then NFC East, NFC South, and kind of like that, just breaking it off into separate divisions. But they have like the New Orleans Saints and San Francisco 49ers, and then the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's a little weird. But let's get on to the actual discussion of this, with New Orleans Saints coming in with an 85 overall, an 88 offense, 83 defense. And for me, it's hard to say because I feel like the New Orleans Saints have one of, if not the best offense overall within the NFL currently. They got Drew Brees, they got Taysom Hill, they got Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. I feel like they just have a lot of these big, strong weapons on their offense. 88 offense is good, but I can honestly just see like they bump up that offense a little bit to at least I feel like at least a 90 but like 90 is around where I'm guessing. If I was personally doing, I'd probably do like a 91. But I feel like 88 is a little low. 85 overall, I feel like is way low for the New Orleans Saints. Like they didn't get very far and in the playoffs, and I think that might have hurt a little bit. But the 83 defense, I feel like that's kind of shooting down too much. And Duckmaster, I do agree. Like looking at a lot of this, EA definitely nerfed these rosters. Like here, I'm gonna just flash to show you guys because you guys know I'm a diehard Jaguars fan, so I can get like all my updates on my teams. I have like my team ratings and like all the individual players, which I'll show like periodically. But I do think that like these ratings are very, very interesting, and we'll even talk about like these are some of the top players for each teams, and then I have the quarterbacks pulled up, so we'll be taking a look at the quarterbacks in just a few moments after we get through the teams. But overall, I think the Saints could probably be like an 87 overall with a very minimum 89 offense and an 85 defense. And so let's move on to the San Francisco 49ers. They were in the Super Bowl. They were a good team. I would definitely say they were a top 5 team this past season. But man, I feel like they got kind of bashed on their Madden rating. They have an 84 overall with an 85 offense and an 84 defense. To me, that just blows my mind. It's like, how do you have a team that went to the Super Bowl and was literally so close to winning it, and the Chiefs just came back in the second half and just lit a fire and stopped the 49ers every single second they could? How do you give the second place team, in a sense, in the NFL an 84 overall? That I feel like is way, way too low. I'm very curious to see what the Kansas City Chiefs are, because I haven't gone that far down this list. 49ers, I would say, because of this past season, I say they deserve at least, at the very least, an 89 overall with a... I'll probably say like an 88 offense. Their offense, I feel like, was good, but it wasn't like stand out like what I would say what the New Orleans Saints is. But their defense is rated lower than their offense. I would say their defense was their stronghold, got them through most of the games. I would say their defense was probably like a 92, if anything. So, to me, I feel like 49ers, for whatever reason, just hit the ground and were basically buried alive by EA. Especially with, wow, we'll get to this later, but like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just 1 point overall lower than everything about the 49ers, when the Buccaneers were very, very far down in the dumps this past season. And then next we have the Baltimore Ravens, who were also given 84 overall, which to me, I would say the top 5 teams were Kansas City Chiefs, San Francisco 49ers, New Orleans Saints, Baltimore Ravens. Oh, I'm not saying the Tennessee Titans, because I don't think that they were as good. I think a lot of people just didn't know how to plan for them. I would probably say the Minnesota Vikings or the Seattle Seahawks as number 5. Probably the Seahawks, honestly. But Baltimore Ravens, 84 overall, 85 offense, 84 defense. I would say 88 at the minimum overall, with the 90 offense and 87 defense at the very minimum. But even then, like, those are my minimums. I would say that they're probably like all around, probably just in around 90 at least. Next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like this is way, way too high. I think what they tried to do from this season, because I'm just going to jump to my team really quick. Team overall rating 78, offense 79, defense 77. We weren't the worst team this season, but like that feels like okay. That feels average. Like, I'm like, okay, I can see that. But for the Buccaneers, who did basically just as bad, and other teams that like did phenomenal, like the Baltimore Ravens and the San Francisco 49ers, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be within a point of both of those teams, when one of them was in the Super Bowl and another one was a strong Super Bowl contender, and basically everyone was picking a Chiefs and Ravens AFC Championship game until the Titans showed up. I think the Buccaneers need to drop to at least an 80 overall, if not lower, with their offense being a... This was what Jameis Winston. They do have 2 really good receivers down there. I would say their offense probably an 82, and their defense maybe is 80 or 78. I don't know. I feel like their defense was fairly well, but their offense, I feel, maybe switch those two. Offense should be lower than defense. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking like post draft and everything else, and not going back to this previous season. Also, sorry if I take a little break. I need to like drink so I don't dry out my throat. All right. Sorry about that. Next, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who they were it was interesting to see them and the Eagles go at it because it came down to like the very last game or two to decide who was going to take the NFC East. And the Cowboys barely missed out compared to the Philadelphia Eagles. Cowboys come in with an 83 overall, with an 85 on offense, A1 defense. Honestly, I would say that's probably one of the more accurate ones so far. But compared to other teams like the Baltimore Ravens, I'm sorry, I honestly just think that like I remember like old man days where like I would play as the Jaguars like, and they would be like a 77, and then you would have like the New England Patriots who'd be like a 95, and it was like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? This is a huge gap, and now I just feel like they're making the gap between each team smaller. So I'm guessing it's like I feel like they're trying to do a more of a, hey, you can play as basically any team you want and still have a good fighting chance, and not any team is going to absolutely dominate another team. Which, from a game perspective, that's nice, but if you look at it overall, it's like, no, like, the Kansas City Chiefs would wipe the floor with the Miami Dolphins almost any day of the year right now. But overall, I would say the Cowboys, pretty on par with what I think. So, that moves us on to the Philadelphia Eagles. Oh, wow, okay. I really hope this is all sorts of wrong. I don't know if this is 100% confirmed, but I'm just looking at the Kansas City Chiefs or Nets, and oh my goodness, okay. Whew! Philadelphia Eagles, from what this site says, is that they have an 83 overall, an 87 offense, and an 80 defense. I feel like they're still living when the Eagles won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. 83 overall makes sense. 87 offense, I feel like is okay, but I feel like they need to go lower, and the defense could probably stay the same. Kansas City Chiefs, though, this is the one that's blowing my mind right now. Kansas City Chiefs, an 82 overall, with an 87 offense and a 77 defense. You can't disrespect the Super Bowl champions like that, especially putting them down beneath the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Buccaneers. The Chiefs are worse than the Buccaneers, is what you're trying to tell me. Yeah, I'm not buying that. If this was me, I would say Kansas City Chiefs would probably be the one of... I would say the Chiefs, 49ers, and maybe the Seahawks and the Ravens all deserve at least a 90 overall. Chiefs, I would probably give their offense a 94 or 95 because their offense is definitely their strong point. And something I noticed, and I've even talked to McKay about this, and I'm pretty sure we talked about in past podcasts, Kansas City Chiefs are a comeback team. If they get ahead of you in the first half, you know that that's going to be game, set, match because they're going to come back even stronger in the second half. If you're ahead of them in the first half, watch out because in the second half, they're just going to come in and not give up. They're just going to be relentless and destroy you, and that's what we saw happen to what we assumed was the unstoppable 49ers defense. It was the Kansas City Chiefs high-flying offense against the 49ers rock-solid defense. The rock-solid defense held up for the first half. Second half started to fall apart. They were able to stop the Chiefs' high-flying offense in the first half, but in that second half is when things really started to change. Yeah, I feel like this is starting to become a joke, and I can see that they're now doing it based on overall. Chiefs need to be way higher. Indianapolis Colts, 82 overall, 84 offense, 80 defense. I would say 82 overall is accurate. 84 offense, I feel like is a little high, mainly because they lost Andrew Luck. I feel like if they had Andrew Luck, 84 offense is a good, solid place to be. But without him, I just feel I have to knock points off for that. And the 80 defense seems about right. So, like, I would say 81 overall, if anything. 82 offense, 80 defense. I feel like that rounds it up. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is Duck's go-to team. And me and Duck, we play Madden Mobile together, so there's surprisingly a lot of Steelers fans in that group. Steelers given an 82 overall, an 83 offense, and an A1 defense. And, you know, Duckmaster, I honestly 100% agree with you. Making the Steelers offense higher than his defense is a crime. I agree with you. in the sense of if I were to look at this like right now, looking back on the Steelers' past season this year, they went down to like they had a lot of quarterbacks come in. I feel like the offense just needs to lose a few points solely for how many quarterbacks they went. Like their offense just seemed really really banged up, and I feel like their defense really carried the team. So I would probably just swap the two and maybe bump the Steelers overall up about 1 point, because me and McKay did talk about in our earlier episodes that the Steelers were looking to be like a bottom 10 team, and then about a third away through the season, the Steelers just started coming and just winning and winning and winning. Like something happened where things just started clicking, even with backups on backups going in. So honestly, I would say the Steelers are probably the most resilient team in the NFL, where if they go down, they're going to go down with the fight. And if you're not careful, they're going to come back and just win the whole game. So I would say that's like fairly on par. Just probably swap the offense and defense and then bump overall offense, defense, everything by just a point or two. I would feel like would be fair, especially considering the season that they had. And they even almost made it to the playoffs, and everyone counted them out like quarter of the way through the season. So honestly, I give the Steelers a lot of credit here. Whew, man, it is hard talking without somebody else to take over. Cleveland Browns. Why is this becoming a joke now? Cleveland Browns 81 overall. I don't know if anybody agrees with the Browns being an 81 overall, especially with the Chiefs being an 82 overall and the Eagles and the Cowboys being like an 83 or an 84 overall. Anyways, they have apparently an 84 offense. I feel like they have the pieces there to make an 84 offense, but they don't execute it, and then they have a 79 defense. I would say that 84 offense needs to go down to at least an 82. Defense, I could say, probably stays around where it's at. Maybe bump up to an 80. Overall, I would say 80 or 81. Like, it's not terrible. I just think that offense is way, way too high. Like, I no world right now do I see the Cleveland Browns having an 84 offense. Next, we have the Chicago Bears, which is McKay's team, given the 81 overall with a 79 offense and an 85 defense. And in all honesty, because they do look at the draft, or they do look at the game, and they add the rookies that were drafted in the current team's depth chart. Could not think of the word for a moment. Offense, me and McKay have talked many times, and where he has said that the Chicago Bears offense is not good. They got Mitchell Trubisky. Now they have Nick Foles, who I was talking to McKay. He's hoping that he's thinking that Foles will do a lot better in Duval, which I think he is right. I think that Foles will do better with the Bear in Chicago than in Jacksonville. Do I think that he's going to be what the Bears need? Not by a long shot. I think it's just either evening out with Trubisky or Hello? Okay. Thank you, Duckmaster, for letting me know that the audio cut out. For some reason, my microphone just randomly turned off during that, so I'll just go over that. Anyways, 85 defense, I feel like it's good. 79 offense, I feel like that's okay. 81 overall, I would say at least give it an 83 overall or an 82 overall. I just feel like since the defense is carrying that much, the overall should definitely be boosted up. So let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. With the Buffalo Bills, I have talked about that they have been, I think, one of my more sleeper teams in the sense of I feel like everybody underestimates them, but I'm waiting for them to just come back and just dominate the NFL. I think that they are the net bid dog in the AFC East. I honestly think the New England Patriots dynasty very well could be over. If it isn't good for the Patriots, but it's going to be very interesting to see because the Patriots I feel like have the most speculation with them with Tom Brady being gone. Is everyone saying, "Oh, was Tom Brady really a system quarterback, or was Tom Brady what made the team?" Personally, I feel like it's a little bit of both. Do I think Brady was the best that ever played? Do I think he was the greatest of all time? No, not by a long shot. I think that there are a lot of other quarterbacks that had been better than Brady. I think Brady's just got honestly the best head coach in the game with Bill Belichick. Has a great, phenomenal system. I just feel like the Patriots had always had a little bit of something for Brady to work with, even though in some years he may have had a rougher time. I feel like overall he had like the best overall system and the best group to fit around him. Um, but the Bills, I think, are coming and going to take over. 81 overall, 80 offense, 83 defense. I would say probably bump up offense to 81, overall 82. Call it a day there. Next, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, 81 overall, 79 offense, 85 defense. Let's look at like this. At the Chargers pick at number 20 or at number 5 in the draft, I don't think that they should be ahead of the Green Bay Packers who went to the playoffs, the New England Patriots who went to the playoffs. Like, a lot of this just doesn't make sense to me. A top 5 team, I don't think, is going to until I see it happen in this upcoming season, I think that they need to go off of what the draft dictates, and I don't think that their draft is going to bump them past a lot of these really good teams. I would say offense probably about 79, especially now that they lost Phillip Rivers. They're going with either Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert. So they're either going with the experienced veteran player who hasn't played in a while since his time with the Buffalo Bills, or they're going with the rookie. And in my personal opinion, so I have the same thing like with Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray did okay. Rookie quarterbacks are either hit or miss. Like we look at past like really high rated quarterbacks coming out of the draft. In the Browns have the best examples with Johnny Manziel, with there was Teddy Bridgewater, there was Blake Bortles. Only one of those quarterbacks is still playing, and then there's also Baker Mayfield, who is already in like is he good or is he just another dumpster fire quarterback? The way I see it is that first round quarterbacks, I don't believe in them until I actually see it. And a lot of times I feel like they disappoint more than they excel. I mean, we do have like strong excel cases with Eli Manning. He was a former first round pick. He did really well, but I still don't think he's one of the best. Tom Brady, drafted in the 6th round, is debated to be one of the greatest of all time. So you never know how good of a quarterback really is until you see them in the NFL. With that being said, I would say Chargers probably knocked down that defense a little bit. I would say that overall they're probably in an 82 range. Defense, I would say probably like an 83 or an 84. Green Bay Packers with an 81 overall, 83 offense, 79 defense. I feel like offense could be bumped up a point. Defense could be bumped up a fair amount. Overall, probably about to an 83. I just feel like the Packers have just always been consistently good or at least decent. They've made the playoffs a good amount of the times. So I honestly see no reason to have them rated with a lot of teams I see as not good right now. Oh my goodness, this list is going to make me madder the lower and lower we go. New England Patriots, 81 overall, 80 offense, 83 defense. I would say that their defense probably give them an 84 and 85. They had really good defense. Offense, I would say that you are lowballing, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, like, Brady had his very bad season compared to the rest of his career. It was one of his worst seasons. Overall, I would say definitely bump them up because they are still a playoff team. They still went to the playoffs. They still did. They lost in the wild card against the Titans, but the Titans ran it all the way to the championship game and almost to the Super Bowl. So not gonna knock a few heads for that. Overall, I'd say probably like an 84 at the minimum. And like I said, like I did say people like with the Chiefs and the 49ers being at least in the 90s, like 92. And I should probably be bumping like a lot of playoff teams. Like if we were just to go overall of all the teams where this is showing like 81 overall for this team, if they were in a playoff team, whatever I say, I'm basically just saying this is what they should be, plus an extra point or two if they make it to the playoffs. But yeah, Las Vegas Raiders. My goodness, I still can't get used to Vegas Raiders. 81 overall, 85 offense, 77 defense. This I just feel like it's all over the place. Overall, I would say yes. Offense, maybe. Offense, it was mainly their running back in Jacobs that I would say carried that offense and just lit up the game. I still am firm in my belief that he should have won Rookie of the Year over Kyler Murray. I really don't think Kyler Murray should have won Rookie of the Year. I think he was definitely a contender. I don't think that he should have won, though. Defense, I would say, probably comes up a little bit. Offense, I would say, comes down a little bit. But 81 overall is where I feel comfortable with it. Seattle Seahawks. This one blows my mind. 80 overall. You have them lower than the Raiders, and the Seahawks were one of the teams that went blow for blow with the 49ers. I would say Seattle Seahawks, since they're a top 5 team of mine from this past season, I would say probably like an 87 overall with a 88 offense and a 86 defense. I'm not going to do the little point one for them just because like I'm so positive that they were like a top 5 team. And I'm so confident in them that I'm putting them that high. Houston Texans, honestly, 80 on everything. I can stand by the 80 on everything. Maybe even 81 or 82 on everything. In all honesty, I feel like they made it to the playoffs, so I feel like add that extra point or two overall, like 83 all around. Honestly, I think the Texans were a really good team, and I think where they're going to lose a point is probably losing DeAndre Hopkins. That definitely gets rid of Watson's biggest weapon, and I think this is going to be like the determining season for the Houston Texans. I think that if they're going to do good, they're going to do good. If they're going to do bad, they are going to do bad. There's not really a middle ground too much for them. I can see them breaking even, but they're either going to be in the playoffs again for the AFC South, or they're going to be close to the bottom for the AFC South. I don't see much of an in-between. Tennessee Titans, 80 overall, 81 offense, 80 defense. I would say offense at least an 83, defense probably an 80. Playoffs, and like I've seen in past games, is Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry carries that team. Tennessee Titans were horrible at the beginning. They replaced Marcus Mariota with Ryan Tannehill, which I honestly think was the biggest improvement and the biggest change. So bump up their offense a good amount, but overall the team didn't really change. It was mainly that quarterback change with Ryan Tannehill. I think Tannehill was just a better quarterback, and they gave the ball to Henry a lot more so he could just run, and he ran away with it. I would say overall, probably the Titans like an 84 overall, going to the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs and beating out the Baltimore Ravens pretty well. So there is that. Minnesota Vikings, 80 overall, 80 offense, 81 defense. I'm just disappointed how low they're ranking some of these teams that went to the playoffs, and then teams that were in like the top 5 picks of like the San or not the San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers are like an 82, while the Minnesota Vikings, who went decent in the playoffs, are rated 80 overall. It doesn't make sense to me. I would say Vikings, since they're close to my top 5, I would say that they're probably like an 85, 86 overall. I would say probably their offense defense just add about 5 points to each. I would say that's about right. Arizona Cardinals. This is where it's going to get interesting. 79 overall, 79 offense, 80 defense. They weren't the worst team, but in no means would I say that they are that good. 79 overall, like, I'm just looking at some of these other ones, I can see what they're talking about. And I honestly am getting to the point where I don't even think this list is 100% accurate. I'm just going off of what they're saying, because that's the only, like, full of all teams I could find. I would say probably like a 78 overall for the Cardinals. Offense, defense, just minus a point overall for both, for the whole team. So, yeah, that seems fairly doable. Atlanta Falcons, I would say either an 80 or an 81 overall, with an 81 or an 82 on offense and an 80 on defense. Main reason, I believe Matt Ryan got hurt this season. He missed a lot of the seasons. I feel like if he was in majority of this past season, it would have ended a lot better for the Falcons. But this season, I feel like they're going to come back really strong. I feel like they did a lot of what they need to improve on. So Falcons, I feel like, are rated way too low. The only reason I'm like looking at this and being like, I don't think this is accurate, because we don't have the full teams officially released, but there's been a lot of talk. Los Angeles Rams, I would say definitely needs to at least be an 81 overall. So 82 on offense, 81 on defense, especially when they have Aaron Darnold, who has been confirmed as one of the 99 club members, along with Patrick Mahomes and Christian McCaffrey. I feel like that alone just bumps up their defenses a lot, and they also have Jalen Ramsey. I feel like their defense should be higher than their offense. So that's a very interesting choice. Cincinnati Bengals, I will say I am rating the Cincinnati Bengals as probably the lowest team in Madden this season. I feel like 78 overall is generous. I would say that overall they're either a 76 or a 75, and I know Madden doesn't usually go lower than a 77 most of the time. I would still say 76, 75. It was not a good season for them. Defense was definitely their strong point. Offense, I would probably keep it where it's at. Denver Broncos, this is the one that interests me a little bit. I feel like that they're better than 78. Joe Flacco under center did not work, and when Drew Lock came in, I had to stop and think for his moment, because I always want to say Andrew Luck, but because their names are so similar. But when Drew Lock came in, the Broncos started lighting a fire everywhere, and I feel like he himself just boosted that offense a lot. I would say probably a 79 to 80 overall, with the offense being at least a 79, 78, and the defense being an 81 or an 82. The Giants, who I feel like are one of the worst, 78 overall makes sense to me. 80 offense, I would bump that down, mainly because Daniel Jones, I feel like, is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He either has a good, solid, great week where he's just lighting up the storm and beating every other quarterback, or he's throwing the whole game away just on his own. I just feel like he's too scared, and if you get into his head, it's game over for the Giants. But if he's able to not get in his own head, the Giants are going to thrive. I would say probably a 78 overall is accurate, but that offense needs to come down to at least a 79, 78. Defense could probably go up to a 78, so probably 78 all around for all three. Next is my team, Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to go with this one because I don't trust this place. This is actually news for the team itself. They're saying overall rating 78, so that seems right. 79 offense, 77 defense. I swear this entire thing is at the actual ratings. We as a group, we as football fans need to go over to EA and be like, do you guys even watch football? Do you guys know anything about the sport? Do you guys know how any of the teams did? Especially if you're putting the Kansas City Chiefs in the middle of the pack when they're the Super Bowl champions. If this is like the official like before this season starts, my goodness, this is a nightmare, and a lot of people at EA need to be reevaluated for this specific game. Jaguars 78 overall, 79 offense, 77 defense. We did lose a lot of key defensive players with Boye, Ramsey, Campbell, Darius. That's like basically the big four on our defense. And we drafted C.J. Henderson first overall. We got Joe Schober out of Cleveland Browns, who's supposed to be a really, really good linebacker. I'm interested to see what he does. Unique Ngakoue is holding out right now, so I can see where this one comes in. Defense, I wouldn't say the defense is that bad. I feel like the defense can hold up. It'll be interesting to see. I would say the defense probably at least needs to be a 78 minimum, 80 maximum with the offense. This is where I'm getting a little peculiar because over here for the Madden ratings, so like Brandon Linder, he's the center. Josh Lambo, he's the kicker. Like those made sense because Brandon Linder is phenomenal. Josh Lambo is a phenomenal kicker. Unique Ngakoue made sense. Leonard Fournette. I feel like Yan could actually be higher. Fournette could be a point or two higher. The one that confuses me is this one right here. Whoop, didn't mean to highlight everything. Andrew Norwell being the fifth best player on the team when, in my personal opinion, he was probably one of the worst guards. And Jaguars had 3 Pro Bowl players in Calais Campbell, Josh Allen, and DJ Chark. Josh Allen is an 81, DJ Chark is an 81. Those boys need to come up to, at minimum, an 85. Like, they need to be in Lambeau territory, if not a little bit higher. Especially Josh Allen. I'd say Josh Allen could probably be at 87, 88 on his own. DJ Chark, I would probably say an 86, just going off of Madden's current rankings. Yeah, Duckmaster, I agree. It's going to be interesting to see Josh Allen in his second year because I feel like if Yan sits out, and they did draft a good amount of defensive line to help Josh Allen. But I feel like if Yan sits out, the defense is going to rely heavily on him. Miles Jack is going to probably go back to outside linebacker, being strong side. So he's going to go back to his position where he had his really, really strong year instead of being in the middle where he's not as strong or as comfortable with. But Josh Allen's going to be... I feel like he's either going to be double-teamed the entire time, or he's going to be just as, if not better than before. He was definitely the steal of the draft for the Jaguars in that. Overall, I would say the Jaguars probably 79 overall, I feel like, is the best option. 80 if I really wanted to push my luck with it, but overall, I think that's fairly comfortable. I just feel like certain players need to be rated higher, especially... Where's the one that made me the angriest? Where is it? Gardner Minshew, my boy, who is debated to be as one of the best rookie quarterbacks out of this past season. It's between like him and Kyler Murray for the top 2. We go into here, which we have our quarterback index. So I'm ignoring these rookies. The rookies just irritate me. Joe Burrow 76. I think I read somewhere that Kyler Murray is like supposed to be a 76 with Joe Burrow or like a 77. Which to me, I'm like, yeah, I understand that he was Rookie of the Year. He was number 1 overall draft pick. But this man was giving Kyler Murray a run for his money in less games. And he's only rated 70 overall. I'm not saying he should be rated higher, but this man, like, I'm just looking. AJ Cann. Like, he should be higher than Cann, he should be higher than Marsh, he should be higher than Robinson, he should be higher than Avery Jones, he should be higher than Chenault, he should be higher than Trey Herndon, he should be higher than Chasen, who we just drafted. definitely higher than Brian. Like there's a big list of people they should be higher than. I don't understand how they rate some of these people. New York Jets, 78 overall, 77 offense, 81 defense. I would say the Jets could probably 88, 78 overall is fairly accurate. I would say that's good. 77 offense. I would say maybe even a little bit lower defense. I would definitely chalk down to at least a 79 at the very minimum, 80 at the maximum. Carolina Panthers. This one's a little interesting too. 78 overall, 80 offense, 76 defense. I don't think the Panthers did that bad, but they were heavily carried on the back of Christian McCaffrey. And when teams started planning around Christian McCaffrey specifically, the Panthers' wins became less and less and less. Kyle Allen just wasn't doing it. With Cam Newton gone, it definitely made it really rough for the Carolina Panthers to do anything. I would say Panthers, now that they have Teddy Bridgewater coming in, after seeing what he did for New Orleans Saints when Drew Brees was out, I think he only lost like one game while Brees was out, if any. I think he's definitely going to improve the Panthers' offense. So I would say even the Panthers' offense jumped it to a 82, made their defense probably a 78 because they did lose Kuechly, who was the star of that Panthers defense. And I feel like the Panthers are going to be extremely crippled with Kuechly no longer being the man in charge of the commander of that Panthers defense. Overall, I would say probably Panthers deserve at least an 80. Detroit Lions, 77 overall, 77 offense, 79 defense. You know, I'm not even going to argue with this one too much. This one seems fairly accurate to me. Like I said, Cincinnati Bengals I think should be the worst. So yes, Cincinnati Bengals and Miami Dolphins definitely belong to Redskins, I would say, or Washington, because they're no longer the Redskins, so I don't know what their name's going to be. Anyways, Washington, 77 overall, 75 offense, 80 defense. It's going to be interesting seeing what they're going to do with Dwayne Haskins going into his third year, seeing if he's going to be the quarterback of their future or they're going to try to grab another one. It's up in the air. And then the Miami Dolphins, Tua's coming in. What was Tua's rating? Tua was given a 73 rating. So we'll see how that pans out. 76 overall, 73 offense, 80 defense. Okay, listen. The Dolphins were not good in the sense of I don't think that they need a 73 offense. I think that they need at least a 75 offense at the very minimum, and that's like bottom. 80 defense I feel like is high. I would say Dolphins probably a 77 overall. Bengals probably coming in as a 75, 76 overall. Dolphins I would probably give them like a 77 offense and a 79 defense. But that covers all the teams. So before we go in too much further, I just want to cover like the top 10. Want to know if you guys like agree or disagree with any of this, or if you think like some people should be higher, some people should be lower. I'm gonna give my opinion as we go. Patrick Mahomes, 99. I 100% agree with that. I think that he is the quarterback in the NFL. I think that he is what everybody wants. He's smart. He's strong. He's fast. Like I feel like he's basically doing it all. And right behind him is Russell Wilson and then Lamar Jackson, who I would say might be like in the top 3. Wilson coming in with a 97 overall. Yeah, I say that's pretty accurate. 97. I would say maybe 98 if I wanted to push it up a little bit more. But 97 I'm comfortable with. Lamar Jackson, 94. I would say probably bump him up to a 95 at least. Make him very, very fast, which I'm seeing that they did. They made him obviously the fastest quarterback. I agree with that. Drew Brees coming in with a 93 overall. I would say Drew Brees is probably my number 4 quarterback, so I can agree with that. 93 seems like a comfortable number because he is getting up there in age. He's more prone to injury as we saw him get injured. He's still able to throw a really good, accurate ball, but he's not very fast and mobile. This is the one that bothers me. Tom Brady. Yes, he has been debated as the greatest of all time. If we're going off of last season, though, and not for what he has done for the Patriots dynasty, for what he has done for the past few decades, I feel like he would not be a rated 90. I feel like he would be about an 87 to an 88. I would say that's probably the most fair. I don't think that he deserves a 90 though. I would definitely bump him down below Rodgers, who we're going to talk about next, with being the 89. This one's been a very big topic because a lot of people are like, no, Rodgers should definitely be at least a 90, and then other people are like, no, he should be like an 87 and 86. He's not as good as he used to be. He's just basically not doing as much as he used to be. So it's very interesting to see. I still view Breeze really high, even though he got injured. He still put on a really good show. Whereas I feel like Brady and Rodgers, they didn't do bad, but they didn't do as great as I feel like people expected them to. So it's very interesting to see, like, we have what basically looks like our new top three quarterbacks in the NFL, and then what has been basically the top tier, top three quarterbacks for the past couple of years are starting to slide more and more down the rankings. So it's very interesting to see how this is changing. After Rodgers, we have Matt Ryan, 87. I would say probably bumped him down to an 86 and bumped Deshaun Watson to an 88. I feel like Deshaun's just all around better than Matt Ryan. I think Deshaun's a really good quarterback. I would say he might even be better than Rodgers. I think he's better than Brady as of current. But that is a very interesting one. Next we have Carson Wentz, which Eagles apparently have. This is number, because this is like the top 10 is Mahomes, Wilson, Jackson. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 9 QB is then Carson Wentz. I'm just trying to think of like any quarterback that I think would go here instead. Like, there is a possibility. I know, like, Duckmaster, like, you might consider Big Ben. I just don't know what to say of Big Ben as of right now, just because he missed basically all of last season. Carson Wentz, I feel like when he's healthy and he's able to be protected, he's a good, strong quarterback. But if he is rushed, he's like a glass cannon. He's really, really good, but if you touch him, you're going to be in trouble. Trying to think. I want to see if Cam Newton will come back. I think Teddy Bridgewater could take Carson Wentz's spot if done right. Jimmy Garoppolo, I would say, definitely needs to be in this top 10, especially over Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott. You can't have a quarterback that was in the Super Bowl rated lower than top 10, in my opinion. There's Phillip Rivers, there's Kyler Murray, there's Dwayne Hastings, there's Gardner Minshew. Not Ryan Fitzpatrick. I say he's lower. I already forgot his name. The Tennessee Titans current quarterback. I'm just drawing a blank, guys. I'm sorry. Not Marcus Mariota, the other one that I said earlier with no problem at all. I would say that he is definitely up there. I gotta Google this because I'm just drawing a blank. It's been a long day. Ryan Tannehill. I knew it had Ryan in it, and then I got stuck on the Fitzpatrick train, and that threw me off. Thank you, Duckmaster. And with what you're saying, if Pippen is as good as he was the season before his injury, then top 10. I can see the top 10. I would say he might be the lower top 10. Like, he might be number 10 or he might be number 9. But I agree with you. Yeah, he's just up. He's too up in the air for me to fully analyze and say, Big Ben is this. I just don't know his current condition right now. One quarterback that I would love to see a comeback, but I don't think ever will, and it saddens me because I really liked him, is Alex Smith. He did really well for the Chiefs. He went over to the Redskins. He was doing well, and then he had the most gruesome knee injury, and he's recovering. He looks like he's doing well. It looks like he could come back, and I'm really hoping he does because I really liked him. But I don't think he'll ever be the same, but I would say if he was still around, he never got injured, I would say he would definitely be in this top 10 list. Dak Prescott, 84. I just feel like that there's somebody out there that could do better than him. I don't know who. I think that he is at least in like the top 15, top 16, like at least in the. I would say that after that is it's hard to say that I don't consider Dak Prescott a top 10 QB. I just can't. I feel like that there's somebody out there that's better, and yeah, I'm not saying that he's bad. I'm saying that he would at least be out within like the top 15, if anything. And then just to quickly go over this, and then we'll get into our for the fun topic. Is we got a lot of the rookie QBs. So we got Joe Burrow coming in at 76. Angers me because, like I said before, Gardner Minshew was rated 70 when he had a pretty solid rookie season, despite not even starting in 3 games. Um, to see Joe Burrow, a rookie, coming in at 76, Tua Tagovailoa. However you say his last name. I need McKay here in order to tell me how to say it properly. 73, that made sense. I just think Minshew should be at least like a 75 or a 76. Joe Burrow, I would say, tops out at 75. Tua, 73 is fine. Jordan Love, I would say 70. Justin Herbert, 70. And then they got a lot of others. Jake Fromm, Jake Luton, who was late round 59, which made sense because bottom of the draft, you're going to get rated low. But yeah, I think that is very interesting. So that's going to wrap it up for the main section. Going into our For the Fun, and before we get into that, and to the For the Fun for completely, some upcoming events. So me and McKay actually have a lot of other topics that we are going to be talking about when he is able to. Some of them is doing our personal preseason power rankings, which is kind of where I got the idea of the Madden 21 because it just recently came out with a lot of the teams' rankings. I think that this website might be accurate with their rankings. If it is, so help us that the Chiefs are rated like an 80 or an 81. Where are they? 82 overall. That needs to be way higher. But that's where I kind of got the idea is that me and McKay originally were planning on doing like a preseason power rankings. We come up with a few others. One of them is, so I came up with the idea from one of our past episodes. We talked about for the fun. We talked about doing a who has the best fans and basically ranking teams on their fans and placing them based on what their fan base is, like who's the most devoted, who's the most hardcore, who's the most loyal, going off of a few different aspects. Another one that I come up with doing, we have a bunch of our plans written down as well, is that I might even get my wife to give her opinion. I'm just gonna give her this and tell her to go with it, and she is not into football at all. She only watches it when I turn it on, and she does not pay attention. Is ranking teams based on their uniforms, because teams like the Atlanta Falcons and the Los Angeles Rams recently got new uniforms. So I was like, we could do a ranking based on what we think of each NFL team's uniforms, kind of do a power ranking of that sort. But that's like some of the ideas we have for the future. And as always, like if you guys have any ideas, feel free to join our Discord. If you're watching this on Twitch live right now, the link is just right at the bottom. It says Discord. It's in teal. It's in Jaguar colors because I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm a Jaguar fan. McKay's a Bears fan, so all the links, all the things except for YouTube are put in each of our team's colors. So our schedule on our Twitter is the Bears team colors. The general and the Discord is Jaguar team colors, with YouTube being the YouTube standard YouTube. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas, hop in our Discord and just message us saying, hey, I would really like to hear you guys talk about this, or just let us know if any suggestions that you have for anything that you guys would like to see or topics that you would like to discuss. But going into that, for the fun topic, with everything going on right now, the NFL itself and sports itself are up in the air due to the global pandemic with the virus. With that, I was talking to my wife the other day in the car and talking about football, and I was like, football's going to be really interesting. We had the draft, and for the first time, like, we didn't see players walk across the stage, get the jersey like they were at home, and put on the hat. It was very interesting and very different. My question is, if the NFL doesn't happen this season, which would be absolutely devastating for all football fans everywhere, what would become of the NFL draft? Because the way we do the NFL draft is whoever was the worst team gets the number 1 overall pick. Whoever won the Super Bowl gets the number 32 overall pick. But if there's no season, then do we not have a draft? Or do we still have a draft, but how do we determine who drafts at what position? And so it could be very interesting where if literally the NFL just said, screw it, we're going to do a raffle. We're just going to put all 32 teams' names, and if we pull whoever first we pull out, we could do, like, whoever's first pulled out, they're number 1. Whoever's second, number 2. And I think that would be interesting because you could have a team like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions from this past season, could easily end up with the number 1 overall pick. And they're like, cool, we get the best person on the board when we probably could have gone like the last person in the first round. And Duckmaster's saying that he could see a potential lottery style, almost like the top picks of the NBA draft. That's kind of what I'm on the thinking. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. But in all honesty, I'm just thinking of like how much that could change the game for a season, because all the teams. So like if we were to take the Cincinnati Bengals of this past season, and they got the 32 overall draft pick, that would absolutely devastate them because now they're having to talk to everyone trying to make a trade. That way they can get a decent player that they probably deserve, more so than teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, the San Francisco 49ers, the Seattle Seahawks, the Baltimore Ravens. Like, there's so much that could happen with this, and it's possible that we could see like either a complete lottery, they could just do open tryouts and see, and maybe even just let the players choose who they go to. Like, imagine just in a world, we live in a world where every player that wants to go draft in the NFL. So, as we've seen talk a lot of times, where it's like, I think the most recent one was like, Tua didn't want to be drafted to the Miami Dolphins. Joe Burrow didn't want to be drafted to the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, now the players get more of the choice where it's like, oh, I don't want to play for the Bengals. I want to play for the New England Patriots. Or I want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It could change the dynamic because all of a sudden you're having these really, really strong players going to a lot of these good teams. I don't think that's what is going to happen because I feel like every team would just be like, oh, I want to go play for the Kansas City Chiefs because they won the Super Bowl. They're the best team right now. But it would be interesting. The other one I see is doing the lottery, which I feel like would work, but at the same time, it would still just blow things out of proportion because if a really good team still gets in the top 5, they're gonna be set. They're gonna be getting the best trades. They're going to get the most value out of their picks because they might not have been expecting to pick until later. Now they're picking in the top 5. The last scenario that I can see happening is if they were to go off of last season results. So Cincinnati Bengals just picked number 1 overall. No season happens. Come up to this draft. Do another draft. Cincinnati Bengals get another number 1 overall pick. And it just continues like that. So Kansas City Chiefs would get the 32 overall pick again. I think that could be interesting, and just with the virus, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to choose what to do with the draft. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for tonight. Had a little bit for the fun, and definitely like talk to anybody that you know, just like what are your thoughts of what could happen with the draft. It's very far in the future, but it's something that could change the NFL and the dynamic of the sport, because maybe we do a lottery this season, and maybe instead of having the worst team gets the number 1 overall pick every year, maybe it will move into like the NBA, like Duckmaster was saying, with the NBA going into a lottery system almost every single year. It would definitely shake up the NFL, cause a whole different feeling within the draft. But definitely feel free to talk about it. Join our Discord. You guys want to continue it there, talk about it there. And like always, happy to see you guys here. Thank you guys for coming to support us. Just love all the people that support us. My parents, my wife, McKay's wife. Like, we have a good, strong community, and we're wanting to grow even more. So tell your friends, tell your family, come join this, come talk about football with us. If you like football, this is a podcast for you because we're all here to talk about football. And the more this community grows, the more we might even, like, if this community gets like big enough where there's like, instead of just Duckmaster chatting in or one or two people chatting in, we have like 20 people chatting at once. I know that's asking a lot, but we could even just like take an episode and be like, yo, so for 30 minutes to an hour, we are literally just going to sit here, answer your guys' questions, gives our take. Everyone just basically talks within the comments, and we read the comments, give our opinions and our thoughts. But we definitely love to see more people come in, have more fun, talk more football, and hopefully the season starts on time and we can get back to football really, really soon. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it with a lot of sports coming back, like the MLB and the NBA. It's starting to pick back up, so we should hopefully be able to have our sports again very, very soon. But like always, guys, follow us. Give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Twitch, follow us. If you're on YouTube, follow us as well. Join our Discord. Follow our Twitter. That way you can get updates. That way you can see when we're going live. And even if you join the Discord, we have a giant Discord set up. So I'll even show you guys what it looks like. Here we go. So, like, in here we have welcome, we have our highlights, we have best team, like a debate on who you guys think is the best team. We have fantasy, where you guys can join make fantasy leagues, join them, talk about what player you should look out for in your fantasy teams, make predictions of who's going to go where or how a team's going to do what every single week. Like, you can make predictions on seeing who's going to win and by what score. Questions for us, stats of games, and interesting bits that happen throughout the game. We're going to get back into a weekly poll, but like I said, like, I've been busy, McKay's been busy, so we haven't posted anything in a very long time. Our For the Fun is usually going to go in here. I just need to get better at updating it. And then we have a voice channel where you guys can honestly just come in and a bunch of football fans literally just sit in here and talk football for as much as you like. You can leave whenever, you can join whenever. It's open to everybody. This is for me and McKay still. And this is my team our team interface in our Discord, where you can literally go into any single team and talk about your team. Like, this is devoted specifically to your team. So if I want to come in Jacksonville Jaguars, I could be like, Jacksonville Jaguars are the best. Hey, here's this about the Jaguars. Or, hey, here's this about the Rams. Here's this about the Saints, Patriots, Vikings, Dolphins. Like, we have all 32 teams in here, so you can go in and talk about your team, post news about your team. It's really a cool thing, and we would love to get more people in it. More people will be invested and be able to talk. Anyways, hope you guys have a nice night. Stay safe. Give your family lots of love, and stay safe during the virus. And remember, as McKay was saying, I'm saying this because he's not here, and it's such a classic send-off at this point. Hold your loved ones close and make sure that they're not a Cowboys fan. Anyways, have a nice night, everybody. I enjoyed having you all here.